you do have one guy who, yeah, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter. He can punch, and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger.
I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Davis is a violent human being. He's a savage, and he didn't feel in his element. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. If you're from the hood, you will know.
Boxing pros reveal that Jake Paul has little to no chance of surviving against Gervonta Tank Davis. Shakur Stevenson breaks it down clearly. Despite Jake's huge size advantage, it won't be enough to beat Tank. According to Shakur, Tank's superior skill set, timing, and experience are on another level. He predicts that Tank won't necessarily go for the knockout, since Jake's size makes him harder to drop, but instead will outbox him from start to...
Difference between these two guys.
I mean, size will play some part of the fight, but if I'm thinking like I'm Tank, I'm probably just gonna go out there and try to outbox him and use my knowledge and IQ against him. So I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Is there any way you could, any realistic or legitimate way in your mind you could see Jake Paul winning a fight against Tank?
No.
No way.
Nope.
Not a lot of people have talked about Jake and said he's got good power. Not even and I get anything could technically happen, but you don't even see a realistic shot where he could land one big punch, and Tank being so much smaller, he just can't handle the power.
Nah, not at all. I think Tank is he's been boxing his whole life. Been boxing since a kid, so I doubt like that's gonna be an issue or problem. I think Jake is good for where he's at, but I think it's just levels.
Do you see a more likely chance that Tank wins by decision or by knockout?
By decision. I mean, that guy's too big. I don't think that he's just gonna knock that guy out. So I see him like outboxing him.
Could you see a realistic possibility where Tank could knock him out? Although more likely that it is, like you just said, a decision.
Nah, I don't see him knocking him out, no.
Will you watch, Shakur? I mean,
no.
Obviously, no?
Hell no, nah, that ain't really like, I mean, like I said, here's the thing, like I got two sides of me when it comes down to, I got a business side, then I got a competitor side. And from the competitive aspect, it don't excite me for me to be like, okay, I want to watch it.
The adult explains that Tank Davis has already proven his ability to handle taller and bigger opponents, like Ryan Garcia. He reminds fans that Ryan wasn't just taller. He was also faster and more explosive. Yet, Tank still found his rhythm and defeated him decisively. The YouTuber and boxing analyst argues that if Tank could close the distance against someone like Ryan, who had real boxing experience, then Jake Paul will be no different. Jake's size may look like an advantage on paper, but Showbiz insists that boxing is about distance control, timing, and ring IQ, all areas where Tank truly excels. He adds that Tank has mastered the art of reading his opponent's movements and setting traps, and once Jake steps into the ring, those skills will quickly surface, turning the fight into a strategic showcase of Tank's superior boxing intelligence.
Emotionally, see if he's rattled. See, when it's all said and done, the whole talking shit goes out the window. Jake's scared. Jake, and let me tell you this too. I looked at that, I'm sizing them up. I'm looking at Tank and Jake, and I'm looking at them. Tank can reach him too. He reached Ryan Garcia. He reached Barrio Barrios. I was like, he ain't gonna be able to reach him. He's gonna reach him, I saw Tank's gonna reach him. He knows he's gonna reach him. Listen, I wanna say this too. Funny as hell. Before I say all this, Alicia Bumgardner, shout out to you, girl. I couldn't believe out of all the women to be the first one to do 3 minutes, 12 rounds, it's Alicia Bumgardner. And I really know if I have a great endurance, great stamina, and she's doing this shit. Shout out to Alicia Bumgardner. Because, what's her name, Layla? I don't really know her like that. But she looks like she ain't rattled by Alicia, so that's a perfect dance partner for that. Trying to drag Alicia Bumgardner into lake water, see what's going on with that. Shout out to Alicia Bumgardner. But let's get back to Tank. First of all, Tank knows what he's doing. Tank Davis, he said, what he was just making all these implications that it's going to be scripted. When he said, you're paying me, and then he was like, yo, you're going to have to give me extra, and then he said that this is scripted.
At the end of the day, I gave this little guy an opportunity. He should be thanking me. I'm paying him. I'm his boss. He reports to me, and I'm going to fucking son him on November 14th. So fuck you, little man.
You pay me? Are you paying me?
Yeah.
100%? 100%. Facts?
Correct.
Yes? Correct?
Correct. I'm your daddy.
Chris Algieri praises Gervonta Tank Davis for his incredible ability to draw massive attention every time he steps into the ring. According to Algieri, boxing today isn't just about skill. It's about who can capture the fans and bring energy back to the arenas. And Tank has become a symbol of that new era. Every time he fights, he creates a surge of excitement that connects both diehard boxing fans and casual viewers alike. Algieri also acknowledges that Jake Paul, while not as technically skilled, has played a similar role in reviving mainstream interest in the sport. His presence has attracted a completely new audience, people who might never have watched boxing otherwise. In Algieri's view, both fighters in their own unique ways are good for boxing, because they draw attention from different sides of the audience, uniting passion and curiosity under one spotlight.
About the face of boxing could be Jake Paul soon, and the face of
much
boxing is
criticism to be
basically. Yeah, the face of boxing now is based on if you sell and if people tune in and how many eyes are tuning in when you fight. Gervonta Davis had that. Jake Paul has that. Now they're fighting each other.
Again,
These are created
after
this
products.
fight.
These are still created products. Jake made his name going to Walgreens and then making funny faces. You know what I mean? And it was just blowing up on YouTube and whatnot, right? I mean, that's how he started.
The world we live in now, dude. It's unfortunate.
Okay,
It's not like Sugar Ray Leonard, who was the best fighter in the world and marketable. It's not like Oscar De La Hoya, who was a gold medalist, a great fighter and marketable.
But what I'm saying is technology allows us to make, if I want to take this shoe off right here, and I say I want to make my Nike sneaker into the best product possible, and I got enough money to push it behind it. I put it all over your social media platform, and I put it all over your TV set and all over your phone and all over. You know what, bro? You're gonna start to get curious about the shoe.
Charleston White dismisses Jake Paul's boxing career as nothing more than entertainment wrapped in gloves.
According to him, none of Jake's fights have ever carried the spirit of a true professional bout. They're carefully staged exhibitions designed for clicks, views, and paydays. White argues that Jake has never faced a real, top-tier boxer who could truly test his skill, discipline, or endurance. His criticism echoes the frustration of many boxing purists who believe Jake is exploiting the sport as a marketing platform, rather than respecting it as a craft. Charleston insists that if Jake ever steps into the ring with a fighter like Gervonta Tank Davis, the difference would be painfully clear. Davis's elite training, sharp reflexes, and experience against world-class opponents would expose Jake's lack of depth instantly. In Charleston's words, popularity can buy attention, but it can't buy legacy. Exhibitions might make headlines, but real fights are what make legends.
YouTube boxing and what people say is going on in the media, without a doubt, I think Charleston White is 100% right about that. Don't believe anything you hear. Don't believe anything you see. Wait to see how things play out, and ultimately everything will come out in the wash. Well, going into this fight with Gervonta Davis, I had my concerns about the fight because of the same type of reasoning that Charleston White used, except for mine is slightly different. I don't think that either one of these guys are going to try to do too much damage to each other. Number one, because if it's scripted, which more than likely to an extent it will be, Gervonta Davis is not going to put himself in a situation where Jake Paul is going to actually be able to hurt him. And with these 12-ounce gloves on top of Gervonta Davis's hands, which is bigger, 2 ounces bigger, I do believe.
Teddy Atlas, one of boxing's most respected analysts, draws a powerful comparison between the potential Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis fight and the time Jake's brother, Logan Paul, faced Floyd Mayweather. Atlas explains that while Jake may hold the physical advantage, it's Tank's experience that will ultimately decide the fight. He describes Gervonta Davis as a dancer inside the ring, a fighter who controls rhythm, pace, and energy with precision. According to Atlas, Tank has spent his career facing dangerous opponents, sharpening instincts that allow him to break down any rival. No matter their size or strength, Jake Paul, in contrast, lacks that sharpness, the ring awareness and composure that only years of elite competition can build. As Atlas puts it, boxing isn't about size or muscle. It's about precision, control, and purpose. When Tank moves, every step is calculated. Every punch has meaning.
I liked this when I heard it. No, I didn't like it, to be honest, for the optics and everything else I just said. But you do have one guy who, he's smaller, but he's a top fighter. He can punch. and he's fighting a guy who's not a top pro fighter, who's bigger. What if he hits him on the chin? What if he hits him on the chin? It'll wind up selling. And that's what'll wind up selling. The what if. What if Tank makes him do a cha-cha? He hits him on the chin, and Jake Paul, we're going to find out if he can dance. Whoa, 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 whoa. You know, do the cha-cha. That's what's going to sell it. And you can't argue that what if. You can't. I know I get to places that other people won't go and everything else. They just dismiss stuff because it's easier to do that. It's safer to do that. You don't have the bows and arrows coming at you from people that argue with you because you did that. But I don't care. I've had bows and arrows my whole life. I don't care. But that's true. That what if? What if this guy who is a real good puncher, who is one of the best fighters in the world right now, what if he hits him? What if he makes a miss and he counters him? Or he jumps up in the air? Bang!
Showbiz. The Adult also weighed in on Gervonta Davis's personality outside the ring. He admits that Tank may not be the most polished talker or businessman, but that's not what makes him dangerous. Tank's confidence, Showbiz explains, comes from his roots, from growing up in an environment that demanded toughness, not talk. His demeanor tells the story. During press conferences, his body language says more than any words could. He never looks scared, pressured, or out of place. When Tank stands across from his opponents, there's a silent intensity in his presence, a kind of energy that commands respect. Showbiz highlights that while Jake Paul thrives on media promotion and flashy headlines, Tank Davis's aura doesn't need marketing. His calmness, his stare, and his silence are enough to fill the room.
Tank Davis is a violent human being. He's a savage. And he didn't feel in his element. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. If you're from the hood, you will know. It's kind of like taking a guy from the block and putting him in the corporate world in a business meeting. He's going to be so out of his element that he's just, he doesn't even know how to argue without sounding like, I'm gonna whoop your ass, I'm gonna beat you. The way Jake was doing things, he had the clowns coming out.
Not everyone believes Gervonta Davis can overcome Jake Paul. Some boxing analysts urge fans to stay grounded and remember why weight classes exist in the first place. They argue that Tank's explosive power and unmatched precision dominate at lightweight and super featherweight, but stepping in against a naturally heavier fighter changes everything. Boxing, they remind us, is a sport ruled by physics. A 135-pound fighter challenging someone who walks around at over 190 pounds faces steep disadvantages in reach, strength, and overall durability. Even if Tank lands his signature clean shots, analysts question whether his power can truly translate against Jake's larger frame. A punch that drops lightweights might barely move a man of Jake's size.
All of a sudden, we want to know, who will win in this fight? Jake Paul or Tank Davis? It's a legit question. And I actually want to really hear your thoughts on who do you think is going to win. Because I know what Vegas is saying, but I want to know what you think.
Personally, I think Tank too little, bro.
Yo,
I think Tank too little.
I'm so glad you have a brain on your fucking shoulder.
I think Tank too little.
I said, bro.
I think Tank's too little. That's what I'm saying. That weight classes for a reason.
Davis
that weight class for a reason.
5'5", 135 pounds. Jake Paul is 6 feet, 205 pounds.
That's what I'm saying.
Bro.
He's too
6'1",
little.
205. Everybody's like, yeah, bro, but Tank it only takes one good punch. Yes, it takes one good punch when you're about the same size. There's a 60, 70 pound difference in weight in these people. I don't think nobody puts the physics in mind. Jake Paul gets punched in the face by dudes 200 pounds with all their might on a weekly basis. A 135 pound puncher, bro. If y'all remember the Mayweather versus Conor McGregor fight, Conor walks around like 180 on the regular. He's like 5'9", 180. Mayweather's like 5'7", 145. That 30 pound difference, bro. If you remember that fight, Mayweather was putting mittens on Conor. Guess what happened to Conor? He didn't hit the ground once.
No.
He lasted all 12 rounds getting hit with flurries. I'm talking about Mayweather was having his time. He's being cocky with it, hitting him with all kind of combos. And we're watching the last 3 rounds of that shit like, yo, knock him out. And you know what? He could not knock him out because Conor gets punched by people that are 170, 180 pounds on a regular. And just that 20, 30 pound difference, it was like impossible for him to do anything. And that's exactly what I feel like is going to happen versus Jake and Tank.
Despite the skepticism, many fans can't deny that Jake Paul's presence has brought a new kind of excitement to boxing. His fights draw both criticism and curiosity, creating a mix of outrage and anticipation that few modern boxers can replicate. To some purists, it's nothing more than a money grab. But to others, it's a revival of interest in a sport that had begun to lose its mainstream spark. Jake Paul has a rare ability to make people care. Whether fans tune in to cheer for him or to see him finally get humbled, his name guarantees attention. That unpredictability, the question of whether he'll pull off another surprise or meet his match, keeps audiences engaged. Even traditional boxing fans have come to admit that Jake's polarizing presence adds a layer of drama the sport has been missing for years. Boxing thrives on big personalities and rivalries, and like it or not, Jake Paul delivers exactly that.
A lot of people said, this is bad for boxing, this is bad for boxing. Mate, calm down. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of him, but he's bringing a lot of eyes to boxing. A lot of eyes to boxing. He's doing great for boxing. I don't care what everyone thinks. The weight difference is mad though. Lightweight to, God knows, cruiserweight or whatever the hell he is. Or Gervonta might get thumped up, you know. Hey, if he gets bashed up, I can never go on TikTok live again. The TikTok warriors are going to give me a hard time. They're going to say Jake Paul's undisputed. Oh my God, he's the best thing since sliced bread.
British heavyweight Dave Allen offered a more measured perspective on the Jake Paul versus Gervonta Davis matchup. He admits that he was never a fan of Jake's previous bouts with Mike Tyson or Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., calling them more spectacle than sport. But this time, Allen believes the fight could be different. As long as no one gets seriously hurt, he says, it serves its purpose, an entertaining exhibition for the fans. Allen acknowledges that while Jake Paul isn't a world-class boxer, his fights succeed in sparking conversation, and that alone keeps boxing relevant. People tune in out of curiosity to see how far Jake can really go, and just how a smaller but elite fighter like Tank Davis handles such a massive size difference.
In an exhibition. Thing with Jake Paul, I think he's a good area title level fighter, and that's a good level. Like, you can be proud of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's good. But the Mike Tyson fight, I didn't like. The Chavez fight was just farcical because he's 10-11 years past his best, up 6 weight divisions. But less of a problem because Chavez wasn't in his 50s. Fighting the MMA guys, again, he's fighting people that don't do the same, that they're not even in the same sport. But while they're a bit older, they're still not in the 50s. So all that stuff, I won't really watch any of it. I think I've watched one fight against Tommy Fury, the only professional boxer in and around his prime years, and he got beat. But I think his area title level, I think he works really hard, I think he trains hard, and I don't think he's a bad fighter at all. I don't think he's a good fighter, but he's not a bad fighter. For his experience, he's not bad at all. But Gervonta Davis is a lightweight. So, by all means, if they make a few quid and nobody gets hurt, then great. But I certainly wouldn't be paying a penny to watch it. I think it's just absolutely ridiculous, farcical. Who wants to watch an exhibition? Gervonta Davis is in his prime years. Why is he wasting his time? Why is he having a rematch with the fella he got a draw with? Why is he not fighting?
This fight didn't just materialize out of nowhere. Gervonta Tank Davis had mentioned Jake Paul on several occasions over the years, playfully hinting at a possible showdown. Fans were intrigued, unsure if it was just talk or a glimpse of something real. Now, those whispers have turned into reality. Both fighters have traded words across social media, fueling anticipation and tension. For Tank, it's a chance to expose what he sees as Jake's inexperience and flaws. For Jake Paul, it's another opportunity, not just to silence critics, but to prove that he truly belongs in the world of professional boxing.
Yeah, you're seeing what I'm seeing. Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. I don't buy it for a second, but apparently they were in negotiations to have this fight happen if Tank Davis beats his previous opponent, which obviously ended in a draw. Which means he's obviously going to go and rematch Lamont Roach in his next fight. But come on, Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. Jake Paul is a cruiserweight / heavyweight. Tank Davis is a lightweight. This is Jake Paul's mindset. Okay, I'll fight a legit professional boxer, OAP. I'll fight a legitimate professional boxer who's his age, loses. Okay, I'll fight another professional boxer who's half his weight. Honestly, I don't care how big Jake Paul is, I genuinely do think that Tank Davis would beat Jake Paul. I think Tank Davis would be too fast, too slick, outbox him, move around. He wouldn't knock him out, obviously. I don't think he'd knock him out because of how big Jake Paul is, but he would outbox him 100%. But anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think about this potential fight. I really hope it does not happen because Jake Paul needs to fight a legitimate pro who isn't a taxi driver, who isn't old, and isn't half his weight.
The final debate among boxing experts centers on the power dynamic. Gervonta "Tank" Davis has built his reputation on delivering some of the most devastating knockouts in the lightweight and super featherweight divisions. But analysts now question whether that same explosive power will translate against someone of Jake Paul's natural size. Tank's punches can fold opponents who weigh 135 pounds, yet when facing a man pushing close to 200, the physics change entirely. A shot that ends a lightweight's night might barely stagger a cruiserweight. Jake's size, reach, and physical durability could absorb much of what makes Tank dangerous. That's not a knock on Davis's skill. It's a reminder that his usual formula for dominance might not work the same way this time.
Sense to me, because yes, Floyd didn't have the punching power Gervonta had, but even if Gervonta lands, I don't see him hurting Jake to the point he knocks him out. So what are we even doing? Where's the idea of this where's the idea that Gervonta's even gonna hurt him? He may hurt him to the body, whatever. Jake doesn't want to throw as much, but I don't see him one punch knocking Jake out. And, the same thing was kind of said with Logan. Like, okay, Floyd probably won't knock him out, but probably going to outbox him. I get where Dana's coming from. These things are not meant to be competitive fights. They're meant to make money and to, I guess, scratch that itch of the circus mystery unknown.
And Gervonta, I think, hits way harder than fucking Floyd, but he's too small. I mean, your brother's going to be able to, get inside on him, put his weight on him, tie him up. But I don't hate your brother. Your brother's out there doing his thing. But it cracks me up that they want to start suing people that are talking shit when your brother talks more shit than anybody talks.
I think the thought process behind it is, okay, so Jake and I are obviously pretty polarizing individuals. And when an echo chamber starts and a rumor mill starts of like staged fight bullshit, which like these fights aren't staged, that's just, it's at that level, it's like almost impossible. I think they think that it affects the business and it affects the brand because people discredit him as actually having legitimate bouts. I think that's the theory. So to hold people accountable for
legitimate
perpetuating the rumor.
Legitimate meaning not fixed.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And which is, I mean, again, Dana would do the same thing if his company became known for doing fixed fights when they weren't. Then he would try to find the same way to hold people accountable if they were reputable people saying that, right? So the whole Jake suing people for blatantly trying to say he fixes fights or he stages fights or people have no knockout clauses and all the other bullshit, I understand. Now, again, people need to use their words more accurately if they're upset about what Jake is doing. All you have to do, if you're upset with the way Jake is moving in his career, is say what some people do say, which is, we like to see Jake challenge himself. We don't want to see these exhibitions, these fights that don't make sense for what you said you want to do or what you purport to want to be in the sport of boxing, which is a world champion. We want to see you fight active fighters around your skill level. That's it. But you can't go on there and go, oh, look, another rigged fight. Oh, look, another fake fight.
And that's it for today's video. Stay tuned for more updates, analysis, and stories from the world of boxing. Until next time, stay sharp, fight fans.